Okay, we're going to continue on with Chapter 7 review solution, video solution. This time problems 29 through 32. So, problem 29. We're going to use a method with Church 1 that will return Francis. A method that will return Francis. Okay, if it's going to return characters, it has to be substring. So that's what we're going to be using is a substring. And we want to use the method with Church 1, so that makes it fairly easy. Okay, so we're doing Church1.substring, and so the question is, what are the two parameters that we're going to put inside here to make it go from the capital F through the S? So the first letter and the last letter. Now the first letter's position in Church 1 is right here is a 4. So this is a 4. The last position, which is the S, R-A-N-C-I-S, is right here, which is a 10. Now, if you remember, we have to always subtract 1 to get the last character. So we want to end up with 10, so you have to subtract 1 from 11. So this is 10. So the parameter has to go to 11. And so that when you subtract 1, you get 10. So we're going from 4 to 11, because that means we're actually using from 4 to 10. And 11 minus 4 is 7 characters. And if you count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 characters, so this is going to work. The next one, use a method with Church 2 that will return center. Okay, so this is going to be Church2.substring because it's returning characters. It has to be the substring method. There's not any other choice. Remember, index of and substring both return numbers. Substring returns characters. So we're looking for center in Church 2. So center is the starting with right here, goes all the way to the end. So since it starts at one place and it goes all the way to the end, then what we can do is use just one parameter. And so the one parameter is the starting character of this last group of characters. So we're going to start here on this on the 4, which is going to be 10, 20. So 24 is where this C actually starts, and it goes all the way to the end. So all we need is one parameter. So there you go. That's it. The next one is 31, method with Church 2 that will return an 8. Okay, so if it's going to return an 8, it's got to be an index of or a length, because those are only two that return numbers, and length is too long, so we can't use length to get an 8. So the length of both of those variables is too long. So we have to use index of. So index of, we need to find the 8 in Church 2. So we go to here, 8 is right here, is a uppercase W. Now you always need to look, is this W, uppercase W, the first uppercase W? It is not. There is another uppercase W right here. So if we were just to put, W right here, whoops, then it's going to return a 0 because it's looking for the first instance. We have to add a letter here, or a character, that will force it to go to position 8. And so you look at this, and the next letter is an A. Is there a capital W-A before this? This is a capital W-I, so this is the very first capital W-A. So that's why we want to include the A, because if we just use the W, it's going to return a 0, but we want it to return specifically an 8. Okay, let's go to 32. 32 says use two index of methods with Ch1 and a method with Ch2 that will return walls. Okay, so the method with Ch2 that will return walls is a substring. So we know that we've got to eventually use at the very end. The point is we want to return walls. That's the very end. So the very end has to be using a substring in order for this to work, because substring is the only one that returns characters. So we're going to go Ch2 dot substring to include walls. Okay, so what is going to return the word walls with a substring in Ch2? Well, walls starts up here at number 8. It ends right here at 12. So it goes from 8 to 12. But remember, the last parameter, you always have to subtract 1. So we really want to go to 13 so we can subtract 1 and end up at 12. So it's going to go from 8 to 13 is going to be what we would write in here. Now, we need to use two index of methods, and index of methods return numbers. So we want the first index of method to return an 8. But we have to use it with Ch1. Alright, so we're going to take Ch1, we're going to go over to Ch1. What index of is going to produce an 8? Well, we look over here at the 8 position and we see a C. You have to ask yourself, is there a C prior to this C? Because it looks for the first instance of C. Since there is not, then this is going to work just by itself. So the first thing that's going to produce an 8 is Ch1 dot index of 8. Alright, so this first parameter for the substring is really going to be Ch1 dot index of C, because that will produce an 8, because it'll look for the C, the first instance of the C, and it'll return that position 8. Now the next number we got to use with that needs to be produced by Ch1 is the number 13. And so we need an index of that produces a 13. Well, 13 is right here. And it's this A. And so we need to use Ch1.index of to get the 13. Okay, so in order to get that 13, the Ch1, the position in 13 for 13 again is this A. So we need to put an A here for sure. But then you've always got to check, because is that the first A? If you just stopped with this, what will the index of give you? Well, it's going to look for the first instance of the A, and the first instance of the A is a 6. So this isn't going to work. This is going to produce a 6. We want a 13. So you have to use the second letter at least to make it unique. So we go up here to 13. We go AV instead. Now, is there another AV in here? Here's an AN. Nope. So AV is the first unique AV starting at position 13. So our final answer for 32 is Ch2.substring and then in parentheses Ch1.index of C, comma, Ch1.index of AV. And that will be, let's see, we need another parenthesis here. So that will be our final answer, and that will produce the word walls.